Crystal blessings, everyone. So you're here today with Andy Valkyrie Divine, and it's our third day during our Chakra Energies Series that Tamara and I have put together. And yesterday and the day before, we've been trying to familiarize you with the chakra system, how it works, the kinds of different energies that you can have, and the two paths that they can circulate through. And we've talked to you a little bit about, how to tell if your chakra is out of balance, if it's not really in true harmony, and you need to kind of work things out, whether you're on the deficient side or on the excessive side. And today we're actually going to be discussing what you can do about it, right? So it's nice that you get all this information and then you realize, okay, I do identify with some of those, and I do need a bit more grounding, and I do need to work on this chakra. How do I do it, right? So today I've brought you a lot of things. I'm really excited about today's session. It's going to be long, but it's going to be so valuable. So today we're going to be discussing, what can you do about it? And there's many ways to go about it. I'm going to start with some practical advice in terms of, things like these. So first, you can have a little mojo bag. You can see that the color is red, and so is my candle, and so is my scarf, and there's a reason for that. So remember, I was saying that the colors are red or black typically for the root chakra. And so anything that will draw your attention to those colors, typically black is very common, but red really stands out. So I tend to wear red when I need to work on this, because right away, as soon as I see red, I'm like, oh yeah, it completely jolts me into that mindset. So carrying little mojo bags with crystals, and I will go through each of the crystals separately in a minute, is one way that you can practically, learn to ground yourself and to carry these with you. So, you can have them in your purse, in your car, in your pocket. You can take a bath with them. That would be another thing to do. So if you'd like to grab a few, and just put them in the bath, you can do that as well. There's a couple that are not very water friendly. Crystals have certain, there's a scale, it's called Mohs hardness scale, and different crystals have different degrees of hardness, like their solidity. Some are very brittle, like this one, which I'll talk about in a minute, and some are very solid, and water does nothing for them, so you can put them in water. So taking a bath would definitely be advised, because what you're doing is, if you've ever heard of Masaru Emoto's work on water, you know that water is highly programmable, and so these crystals, the properties of all of these crystals are to ground you and to protect you, right? And when you put crystals in water, if you have that intention of, I'm grounding myself and I'm working with the vibration of these crystals to ground me, then what ends up happening is you're programming the water in the bath to vibrate at that same frequency of your intention and of the crystals. And so you're effectively, putting that intention not only in your own energy field, but you're vibrating at the energy field of the crystals, which automatically, by default, their properties are grounding. And then putting those two together, you're furthermore programming the water to absorb those kinds of energies and to help you ground. So it's very powerful, it's very potent, and it's definitely a very good way to go. And you can relax, you can be at peace, you have privacy because you're in a tub. Hopefully that's private enough. So that's another thing that you can do. Like I said, you can wear red things. Typically when I wear red stuff, like I said, it just jumps right at me. It's a very powerful color. Now, notice that all of these crystals that I'm talking about here, most of them, all the black ones at least, they're protective stones as well. And what I want to emphasize is that when you work with crystals, typically the ones that are grounding, what happens is, remember we talked about safety being an element of the root chakra. And in order for you to feel safe, you need to feel protected. And so, you know, it's a connection that I didn't think of, to be honest with you. I always wondered, why are all these grounding crystals also protective crystals? And it didn't occur to me until you know, I found out, and it's just by doing this, because like I said, we're going through a journey, and we're learning too. You know, Tamara and I are going through this, and we're you know, we're learning so much as we try to present the material too. And I made the connection that, oh yes, you know, in order for you to feel safe, to feel secure, you need to have that element of protection there. So it makes total sense, absolute total sense. So I'll go through the crystals one by one. I have some books here that I want to show you too in a minute. I talk about crystals because crystals are very resistant to entropy. So I've taken my course through Hibiscus Moon, and she goes through this in so much detail. You know, crystals have a particular crystalline structure. Their atomic structure is very firm. It's very stabilized. It's you know, sacredly geometric. If you've ever heard of sacred geometry, if you didn't, that's your homework for today. And in their crystalline structure, in their atomic structure, they don't deviate as much from energetic influxes. And so we do, because we're made up of so much more than the crystals are, right? We have blood, we have organs, we have different tissues, we have our minds, our thoughts, our feelings. We're you know, a mess of vibration, so to speak, because we're made up of so much, right? Whereas crystals, they have a certain frequency, they have a certain vibration, they have a certain, you know, property, and then they carry on with that, and they don't deviate so much because, you know, they're made up in a very solid fashion in this, you know, crystalline atomic structure that is very organized and resistant to entropy, to chaos, which we're not very resistant to. So, you know, we tend to get thrown off balance relatively quickly. You know, circumstances happen, situations, like I said, feelings arise, thoughts, emotions, all these things affect us on a daily basis. And again, they're different forms of energy, and you want to become familiar with all of these experiences as forms of energy. And when we look at crystals, what crystals do is they stabilize, and they stabilize from the point of view of chromotherapy, which has to do with the colors. So I was talking about black, I was talking about red. And so just simply by taking the color that matches the chakra that you're working with, right away you're going to, you know, you're going to feel some results just on the basis of you matching the color frequency that we're referring to. Now, I'm going to go through the crystals here. I have so much to say, and I'm just, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to sort of put it all together in this action-packed 20 minutes. Okay, so I'll start with maybe black tourmaline. So this is black tourmaline. I hope you can kind of see it. It's getting kind of dark. Maybe I'll turn on the light. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry. Okay, so we can see better. Okay. So black tourmaline. Okay, sorry, and I'm going to take the scarf off. I just wanted to put it on just to absolutely make sure that I don't forget that it's very, very important. Now, black tourmaline is kind of brittle. It's not very, very strong in terms of hardness because it has all of these striations that you can see here. However, it's a very, very powerful grounding stone and protector. If you're looking for protection, if you're looking for safety, if you're looking for, you know, a balance, which this crystal definitely does, it's very good for geopathic stress, for releasing geopathic stress, for connecting to Earth, you know. And very good for protection. You can carry it with you if you know if you're feeling kind of unsafe, uncertain. Very good for electromagnetic protection. So I keep this next to my computer all the time. There's different ways to. It has so many properties, right? But tuning into it for the purposes of grounding is a great way to do it. Next we have here a couple other crystals that you can use. So this is lodestone. They're smaller pieces. Let me see if you can kind of see them there. I hope it's focusing on the crystal. And You can see that. So there's lodestone, which is also a very grounding crystal. It's basically a different form of magnetite. It's magnetic magnetite, and what it does, and notice when I talk about a lot of these, like the lodestone, sometimes hematite, which I'm coming to in a minute. We talk a lot about magnetism, and we talk a lot about Earth as being a magnet, because it is, right? It does have a north and south pole, and there's an electromagnetic field. And what you want to do when you're grounding, when you're trying to stabilize and get that connection to Earth, you're connecting to its electromagnetic field. So you're trying to balance your magnetic field with the Earth's magnetic field. So grounding stones like these that are magnetic are fantastic for that. The next thing is I have hematite. I love hematite for the fact that it's very, very heavy. It's more of a silvery kind of looking color. It's like a black silver, shiny. However, if you were to take this crystal and take a metal plate and scratch it, the color of the scratch is actually going to be red. So I think you're going to see a pattern here that even though it's black, it actually, when you scratch the metal plate, the line is actually going to look red, which is again the characteristic color that we're talking about. One really cool thing that I like to do with hematite, again, another practical tip, and you might find this really funny, but I take little pieces like this, like super, super tiny pieces, and when I go to bed, I put them in my socks. Because during the day, sometimes, because I'm very much in my head, I'm always kind of like out there and doing things and being distracted and sometimes not so focused, and so I experience a lot of imbalance in my root chakra typically. And so what I tend to do is I'll just grab these hematite crystals and I'll just put them in my socks when I go to bed. So that means that for the 7 or 8 hours that I'm sleeping, these little guys are going to do their work so that I can be grounding while I'm sleeping. And all I have to do in my mind is just say, for the next 8 hours I resonate with these crystals in their vibration to keep me grounded. And that's it. And then you don't have to consciously think about it. You don't necessarily need to take time during your day if you're super busy or you just don't have that time, and it's been a crazy day and you just come home, you're going to bed. Just put these in your socks, or maybe you have a little pocket in your PJs under your pillow. I mean, I keep crystals under my pillow all the time. So these are just practical, very quick things that you can do, for when you're kind of not having enough time to really take the time to ground and to meditate, which we will get to. But I'm just giving you some shortcuts here. Let's see, what else is there? And you can do this too with little tourmalines, like little black tourmalines too. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. I always say, pick the crystal that really works for you, that you really resonate with. So if it's black tourmaline, it's black tourmaline, hematite, lodestone, I have here black obsidian, which is also a very powerful grounder and protector stone. Very, very powerful. Some authors say that it's so powerful that you might want to be careful with it if you're not kind of ready, because it really takes you down. And by down I mean like it really grounds you, but sometimes what it can do is it can take you to a place of actually going down emotionally to clear negativity out, but in order to clear it, it needs to come up, and so you might kind of feel uneasy and anxious, which is an extension of fear, which is the emotion that we're working with when we work from our root chakra. So just be aware of that. If you're ready for that, go ahead. If you're not, I would suggest maybe just working with something that's a little milder. For me, hematite is really good, and black tourmaline is also fantastic for that. Let's see, what else can I show you guys? I have here, again, just purely on the basis of red colors. Here, I'm going to show you. I have a little skull here. This is Jam. You've seen him in a different video before, but I actually have to send him off. I was only a temporary caretaker, but anyway, Jam is made of red jasper, and red jasper is another crystal that very much, it's kind of like a fire starter. The way I see it, it's you know, when you work with red jasper on your root chakra, it's like it just starts things up, right? And the root is that basis from where you want to start things. So I think it's perfect as an igniter of energy, because the energy has to start from that base, from that foundation, and then move up or down depending on, again, you know, which pathway you're choosing to do your work. One other thing that I'd like to show you guys is this is a raw piece. It's not polished, but it's red calcite. So again, red for the color. Red calcite is also very, very good for the first and for the second chakra. We'll get to that. And so these are all suggestions that I have for working with crystals. You know, you can pick any of them, you can pick one, you can combine them. I wouldn't suggest having like 10 different ones in one little bag, but maybe working with 2 or 3 at a time, that's totally okay. And so that's not for the crystals. I'm going to show you some books because I think they're absolutely monumental for this kind of work. One of them is the Crystal Bible. I've had a lot of requests for posting all the titles of my books and all these things, so I'm just going to show you this. The Crystal Bible is really, really good. For example, I just, you know, if we're looking at hematite again, what I really like about this book is that it talks about, it breaks it down into, like, you know, psychologically these are the properties of the crystal, emotionally these are the properties of the crystal, physically these are the properties of the crystal. So it's very, very good at discerning the different properties for whatever element that you're willing to work with. And so, for example, it says here, so it says hematite treats overeating, smoking, or any form of overindulgence. Okay, so remember yesterday I was saying sometimes when we're overcompensating for the imbalance in our chakra, we tend to gain weight in order to ground ourselves to Mother Earth. And so, you know, overindulgence, overeating, these kinds of behaviors are behaviors that are linked to the root chakra. And so hematite is very good with that. It says mentally, hematite stimulates concentration and focus. So I remember yesterday I was saying, you know, one way that the imbalance can manifest itself in this chakra is that you're very spacey, you're very scattered, you can't focus, you're distracted, you have no attention span. So all of these things are related to an imbalance in the root chakra. Hematite is fantastic for that. And remember I said it's really, really heavy. Like as soon as you hold it in your hand, you just feel it. Like it just kind of has that weight, you know, it just grounds you. So, let's see. Okay, and physically, yes, it has a powerful connection with blood. And again, our blood supply is something that goes throughout our whole body, right? Our whole body depends on it. And, you know, this circulation, again, we're talking about circulation because energy also circulates from that basic point, from that foundational point that we're talking about. So, you know, I definitely see the connection there. So this is one. If you're more the, you know, chemistry, physics inclined kind of person and you're kind of skeptical about how do crystals have, you know, healing properties and how are crystals related to us and how does this make any sense energetically, I suggest this one, The Essential Guide to Crystals. And it's a lot more science focused. It gives you chemical formulas, you know, in terms of the structure of the crystal, the chemical formula. It's also by the same authors, Simon and Sue Lilly, as the book that I showed you guys yesterday, which was this one, the Bible. So it's the same, they're the same authors. And like I said, it's a little bit more science focused, which I definitely like because sometimes people tend to be kind of hesitant on how crystals identify with us, right? But we in our bodies have the same kind of chemical makeup that crystals do, right? We have silica in our body, we have you know, magnesium, we have different types of chemical elements and compounds that you find in crystals that you also find in our body. That, you know, again, we're made from earth, we're made from the same, you know, we come from the same place, right, at the very basics. So to me it makes a lot of sense, but again, like I said, if you're too suspicious, go take a look here and I'll give you a little bit more of a background. If you're at the very beginning stages, what I would suggest is the Crystal Healer. It's also a book suggested by my teacher, Hibiscus Moon, for the very reason that it's very basic. It's super pretty, highly illustrated. It looks something like this, just to give you an idea. And so you have a picture of the crystal, you have very basic information, and then again it tells you physical, emotional, spiritual. So it says lodestone, grounding, good for being in the moment, energy flow, helps insecurities. So that's the lodestone that we were talking about here. So if you're kind of, you know, you don't want to get too much into it and you want something that's very straightforward, basic, but pretty for the eyes, aesthetically pleasing, this would be the book to go with. And my absolute favorite book of all time, that actually my friendship with Tamara started through this book, is because she decided to send it to me. And we had just met in a chat room, and we were talking about crystals and all these things, and she said, "Hey, do you have this book?" And I was like, "No, I don't have that book." And she was like, "Well, I have 2 copies, let me send it to you." And that's how our friendship got started. It's the Book of Stones. Absolutely the best reference book that I can suggest if you want really in-depth information. It's written by 2 authors, Robert Simmons and Naisha Asian, and they're very good. Again, I'll read you a couple of things just to give you an idea. So for example, we were talking about the red jasper, and so it says here, so keywords: physical strength and vitality, stabilizes one's energies, element is earth, and the chakras to work with are the root, or the sexual chakra, which is the second one that we're going to be getting into tomorrow. So it says, red jasper can help enhance one's endurance and stamina, and can work overtime to increase energy. It strengthens the root chakra and strengthens one's connection to the earth. It enhances memory, and its energy pattern is so stable that it tends to stabilize one's own energies. The frequency of red jasper opens and stimulates the base chakra, so the root, and the energetic kundalini serpent that dwells at the base of the spine. So if you talk about yoga and healing modalities, and Vedic, sort of Indian forms of healing, we talk about kundalini, which I'm not going to get into, and we don't really talk about this during this energy series, but this again, it's that idea that you're raising your energy, you're trying to raise your energy from a material, physical perspective to move it up to the higher realms. And so what happens is the first 3 chakras, so your root, your sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, are more sort of based on the physical aspect of the world, and then the next ones, which are the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, are more geared towards you know, the divine spiritual aspect of the world. And so the serpent, or the kundalini energy, talks about raising that vibration from the material to the spiritual. What else? Red jasper is a stone of physical strength and energy. It is wonderful for those who need extra support to recover from physical weakness. It's also useful in weightlifting, bodybuilding, because of its ability to help generate muscle tissue, So again, we see the connection with the body, right? Remember, I was saying that the body needs to be strong and firm, and red jasper promotes these, promotes that that vitality that we need. So anyway, so that's the very best book that I have right now that I work with so much. Okay, we're gonna slow things down a bit. I know I'm talking a mile a minute right now, but I really just want to get everything to you. So I'm just gonna turn down my music a little bit, and we're gonna do a little live meditation because I really want to do this with you guys. So I have my Chakra Meditations deck right here, and I picked 2 cards from the Woot Chakra series, and we're gonna work with both. I'm just gonna turn off the music here. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So this one is one that I have already posted on my blog. You will recognize the picture, I'm pretty sure, because it's there. And this is another one that is also for the Woot, and it's very grounding. So what I'll do is I'm actually just going to hold the card so that you can visualize it a little bit. I'll also post it on my blog later. And what we're going to do is I have some affirmations here, and I'm going to walk you through it. And so let's get started. Okay. So it says here, for the Muladhara Chakra, you want to gaze at the picture on the front of this card with half-closed eyes, starting in the upper right corner. It says to slowly rotate your gaze clockwise around the 4 petals several times. And the 4 petals are there because the root's symbol is that of a square. And the square is a symbol of stability, of firmness. And so focus on that for a minute. Look at it. Feel the stability of a square, of how firm it is, of how it has those 4 sides, that 4-sided nature that just stabilizes the whole thing. And so while you're rotating your gaze clockwise around the 4 petals, remember that the name of the chakra, the meaning of chakra means a wheel, right? It means a disc that is spinning, a spinning disc of light. And here we're talking about red light. And so focus on that. Rotate your gaze, allow that healthy spin to come through, and then focus on the corners of the yellow square. Again, a symbol of earth energy. And take some deep breaths. And just feel yourself get heavier and heavier as you ground yourself into Mother Earth. Focus on that elephant next. And think of the elephant as a sign of strength, of groundedness, of firmness. Again, stay with that theme and just breathe. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Lastly, take your gaze to the coiled snake, representing potential energy. This is that Kundalini snake that we were talking about. This is where that potential energy is coming from. And we can tap into this energy at any time. If we don't have enough energy, we can tap into Mother Earth and ask her to give us some. If we have too much energy, and we're ongoing circuit, we need to ground that circuit, just like we would do with an electrical circuit. We need a grounding peace there to keep us centered and grounded. Okay. So just take a second and stay with that. And I'm going to breathe with you, and I'll give you my affirmation for grounding. And so you can sit flat, get comfortable in your chair. Make sure your feet are firmly planted on the ground. You can hold a crystal in your hand if you'd like to. This is what I typically do. I just hold the crystal close to where the chakra is. And you can just say, I am nurtured and fulfilled, safe and secure. I am in the now, rooted and centered in my own body, grounded and connected to Mother Earth. So, I am nurtured and fulfilled, safe and secure. I am in the now, rooted and centered in my own body, grounded and connected to Mother Earth. I am nurtured and fulfilled, safe and secure. I am in the now, rooted and centered in my own body, grounded and connected to Mother Earth. So just take a second and see what that feels like for you. To feel that you are safe and secure, that you have a beautiful body, that you feel that strength in it, that you feel safe in it, that you feel that all your needs are being met. And just be in the now, right now, with yourself, and just know that everything is okay, that there's no need to fear. That Mother Earth has brought you here because she has more than enough for you to take care of you. So know that you are nurtured, know that you are protected, and just sit with that right now in this very moment. Don't think about anything else. Just sit in your own center, right there at the bottom in the root chakra, and feel how rooted and grounded you are. Feel where you come from. Feel that your mother is taking care of you, that you are feeling nurtured, and that you are protected all the time, all the time. I am nurtured and fulfilled, safe and secure. I am in the now, rooted and centered in my own body, grounded and connected to Mother Earth. And so it is. Alright guys, so that's it for me today. I think I've given you more than enough to chew on. So take some time if you can, just 5-10 minutes. Ground, just breathe, relax. You can work with the affirmations. You can make your own affirmations that feel right for you. You can work with crystals, wear some red things, black things, carry a mojo baggie, go take a bath, walk in nature to ground yourself. You know, there's so many modalities to work with this chakra, and it's so very important to have that foundation so that we can work at the higher levels. So I'll leave you with that for today. I would love to have some of your feedback, so I will encourage you if you want to share any of your experiences, if you'd like to do your own meditation. Tamara has some yoga cards on her blog post, which I will link below, and you can take a look at that. You can also try some of those poses while you do this, and just feel yourself becoming more grounded and more firm in who you are, in your body, and in your connection to Mother Earth. So that's it for the first chakra, guys. We did it. Tomorrow we're going to start with the sacral chakra. I'm super excited about that one. There's a lot in there. There's a lot in all of them. I mean, that's why we're on this journey, because we have so much to explore, and we really want it to make it powerful and knowledgeable and enlightening for you, and for you to be able to go at your own pace. You have access to all of this information whenever you want, whenever is good for you. We're going to leave those up. They're free. We really just wanted to share all this with you. So thank you again for being here. We're very appreciative and grateful for it. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to start with the sacral. So Blessings, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.